Our world is a wonderful place, and it has nurtured every life on it since the beginning of its time, as well as us, humans. If you could condense Earth's lifespan into 24 hours, we would have been on this planet for only 3 seconds. And in those 3 seconds, we have managed to raise the average global temperature, pollute our air, poison our oceans, and wipe out countless species. Our behavior has caused the climate change to evolve into a crisis. Housing, transport, and the food industry. These 3 factors are often mentioned as the main causes of the climate crisis. But have you ever heard of the negative effects of the fashion industry? It actually ranks 4th in the terms of its impact on the environment. The constantly changing fashion trends make it ever so difficult to say no to buying new clothes. The producers are relentlessly coming up with new products, and advertisers are constantly discovering new ways to sell to us, the consumers, who'll buy almost anything we can afford, which leads to a huge issue of overproduction and waste. But is being fashionable worth destroying the environment? The fashion and textile industry is one of the most polluting industries in the world. Water pollution, toxic chemicals, textile waste, immense CO2 emissions. Fast fashion comes at a huge cost to the environment. The number of clothes produced annually has doubled since the year of 2000 and exceeded to 100 billion. Yet it's estimated that less than 1% of material used to produce clothing is recycled. The fashion industry's CO2 emissions are projected to increase by more than 60% in only 10 years. 20% of global wastewater is the result of textile production. About 2,000 different chemicals are used in textile processing. However, only 16 are approved by the Environmental Protection Agency. 1 in 6 people work in the global fashion industry, and only 2% of them even make a living wage. Fast fashion companies are actively contributing to the climate crisis and making unbelievable amounts of money while doing so. But no one seems to care. The unlimited urge for profit has taken over humanity. But when the last tree is cut down, the last fish is eaten, and the last stream is poisoned, we will realize that money cannot keep us alive. The Visegrad Group, also known as V4, is a cultural and political alliance of 4 Central European states: the Czech Republic, Slovakia, Hungary and Poland. These 4 countries have noticed that a big number of their citizens are still in denial about the urgency of change. That's why we have been asked to make this film, to spread awareness so that more people will take action. People around the world collectively consume more than 80 billion items of clothing each year, which shows that the fashion industry clearly plays a big role in our life. But how can we make our consumption of clothes more sustainable? To answer this question, we've decided to focus on the slow fashion market in the V4 countries and show you how some individuals are battling the climate crisis.
We are a young company in Slovakia. We are eco-charity. We have 1,300 containers in Slovakia with the aim of collecting the Slovak textile and Slovak clothing. What motivated us was the fact that we had only foreign companies in Slovakia for many years. They were collecting and taking the clothing out of the country. So the very basic idea was to establish a company, a Slovak company, which would collect and process Slovak clothing. We are trying to collect as much as we can, so there will be a further use for the clothing. We're trying to prevent the clothing to end up in a landfill, for example, and we wanted to help, prevent the climate change. So the more we collect, the better we feel. It's very simple. The consumption is increasing rapidly. For example, we had 400 containers. Now we have 1,300, and it's getting bigger and worse. Fast fashion here, you can buy a t-shirt for 5 years, a jacket for 10 years. This is not a solution. We should buy less, it should be more expensive, and you should have an eco tax on the clothing. You know, we call it columns because sometimes you have a bag which is like perfectly shaped column of shirts and t-shirts. It's like, sometimes for me it's unbelievable. Why would you throw it away? Everything what I have on myself is from the container. My wife hates me for that because for me it's nothing. Like, I wouldn't go to a shop and buy this for 50 euros. It's crazy. One pair of sneakers, it's like $2. That's it. You will buy it here for 300. That's the industry, that's the consumption. This is what I really hate about it. Because it doesn't have the value. Consume less, it's very simple. It's just about us. That's it.
We started our eco-social brand Sobi Eco because we had a feeling that there is too much textile waste and too little green jobs, mainly in our region. These are our notebook and tablet sleeves.
It's made by disadvantaged people in Slovakia.
We have a small team where we design products from recycled textile and plastic waste.
In this way we can save energy, we can save primary resources, we can return potential waste into resource.
Production can be really focused on other dimensions than just the economical one. It can be social and it can be ecological as well.
The problem is that we buy much more than we need.
And it's not about like turning everyone into zero waste consumer. It's more about responsible buyers. So customers have to think about not only what I need, but what is it made out of, who produced it, in what conditions.
Main concept of this e-shop and showroom is to have only the brands that are ethical towards the people who produce the goods, towards the animals, and also towards the planet. I started this brand because I was not able to find the shoes that were not made from leather and were of a high quality, and I found out that in Britain there are some brands that produce vegan shoes, so I told myself that I will build the shop that will sell these vegan shoes here in Czech Republic. In the process of finding out this information and the new brands, I also found out about how the fashion industry is contributing to pollution, but also it's like a new age slavery. We are trying to grow sustainably as well, but I'm really happy that the people who come here are really nice and they also care about the planet. So I hope that all together we will continue to expand the ethical brands, and almost every day it is challenging. I have in mind a bigger concept and I know that it is worth it. The lifestyle of modern people is causing the climate change. We are producing too much, buying too much, also that the eating meat and the animal industry itself is a big cause of pollution. Everybody can at least decrease consumption of meat. I encourage everybody to try to go more zero waste, more vegan and more ethical, and to think about what they buy, because with what we buy we vote for a world that we want to live in.
I'm the founder of Coco World company. It's a clothing company from Krakow, and the main goal of the company is to produce clothes out of the ethical fabrics. One day I just decided that maybe I should just find a way to help those people sell these products. I was always fascinated by the colors of handicrafts and the beauty that I saw. The biggest obstacle that I overcome is, to be honest, raising awareness in a country like Poland. Not many factories are providing ethical products. It's a challenge for us, definitely, and we are trying to convince Polish producers of fabrics to buy fair trade threads. So that's mainly what we do. We are trying to take part in many different projects, spread the idea, make upcycled, recycled and ethical products and clothes, and organize some meetings to talk about the idea, talk about the zero waste movement, talk about the fair trade, and maybe thanks to our work many more people will be able to change something with small steps.
wanted to send a message that the sustainable fashion is more important. I gained a lot of knowledge about sustainability, and I would definitely intend to use them into saving the environment, definitely the future generation. So I think it's a very good movement. I would love to support it, and I will support it actually.
And it just naturally was something I had a heart for, is protecting the environment. I learned that the production, manufacturing was not as clean as one would think. We're addicted to fast fashion. We're addicted to cheap price points. So my concept is bring awareness, do these lovely shows. I think they did a really well job at bringing in, sustainable advocates like myself in different fields and different subject matters to really bring a universal approach to this matter that we need help with.
There's consequences to every action. When you make a purchase, think about where it came from and consider the item's life expectancy. What sacrifices have been made during the production of it? For how long will you use the item, and where will it end up when you're done with it? We have interviewed students to find out what their shopping habits are like and whether they associate the fashion industry with the climate crisis.
Fast fashion, so like mass-produced.
I've noticed that fast fashion has been growing.
Fast fashion, I think it's like a really big problem also for the environment.
Fast fashion brands not only pollute our nature but also harm people and laborers as well.
And it's also not always clean the way they do it because they try to make it cheap.
Not many people are aware of this. When someone says climate change, they think of oceans, they think of deforestation, but not exactly clothing.
I basically teach every lesson about climate change, and I would say that most of the students are interested and are also trying to think about how they can change.
I've actually stopped eating so much meat.
I'm trying to become vegan.
I didn't eat any products that had palm oil in it. I actually stopped eating meat, but I didn't get much support from my family.
The most difficult part was convincing my parents. All they talk about is other political issues instead of actual crisis that is happening and that is affecting the whole world.
Because of social media and internet, more and more people are informed about this. The young people, they realize that whether the planet will be destroyed or not just basically depends on them.
Wenn sie helfen, retten sie auch ihr Leben und anderen Menschen das Leben.
Well, as young people, we don't want to waste our lives. We want our future.
It's our future, it's our planet.
Finally, it becomes cool not to fly, or maybe that it becomes cool to eat less meat.
I think the biggest contributors are the countries, the companies. They just produce so much.
Of course, it's the people, the behavior of the people.
The main cause? Well, I would just generally say humans.
Like say the whole Western world.
We don't care much about our planet anymore but ourselves. I believe we could slow down the process, but I don't think there is a way of actually stopping it.
I don't think you can prevent it. I think you can make it milder. I don't think we're ever gonna go back to where we were.
I think we are able to prevent climate change, but it needs much more. We need more power, we need more people.
Wenn das nur ein Mensch macht, dann bringt das ja auch kaum was. Aber es bringt etwas, besser als gar keine. Also es bringt was, aber ganz wenig und dadurch können wir unseren Planet auch nicht retten.
If we're all gonna work together, we can actually solve this crisis.
It needs a political change, but we need to influence the political system.
Every individual is able to make and should make changes in their lifestyle to be more sustainable. But what we truly need is political change. Without it, we simply cannot beat the climate crisis. Fast fashion companies need to pay for the disposal of used textile, create less emissions during the production and transport, adjust the working conditions to acceptable norms and use only non-toxic chemicals. To make that happen, we need to stand up for our planet. Together we can bring the attention to the problem, influence political decisions by voting, and demand political change. Together we can make a difference. We aren't able to stop the climate crisis, but we can fight its causes. Since the future of humanity and all living creatures depend on our actions, Make sure yours don't contribute to the climate crisis. After all, Earth doesn't need people, people need the Earth. Don't let our planet suffer for our mistakes. We have to act now, because it soon will be too late for change. Save our planet, while there's still time.